We're here again with Speedy D Dan from Team Schism, our resident Speed Duel master, who did what at Euros?
Yeah, I scrubbed out main event, thought, you know what, let's go win some mats. Let's win 8 tickets specifically at the prize wall twice. So we're doing these full as hell speed duel mats.
Very nice, very nice. Dominated the competition. What did you do it with?
I did it with the only deck, the best deck, of course, of Moth, of course. Like, while there's not a ban list, this deck is ridiculous. Just the amount of power, play sets that you can play, the YCS Niagara custom ban list, we'll say. I'm pretty sure it gets rid of 15 out of 20 cards in this deck. So,
nice.
So it's certainly an explosive list.
Definitely needs checking then.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll get into the list now.
Yeah, awesome.
It's well, the skills cocoon. So I'll explain just for the few people that don't truly understand how good this card is. So this has been errated twice now, from what I understand.
Twice.
So errated twice. I can't believe it. So once per duel during the main phase, you can either tribute an insect for cost or without starting chain, because these don't start chains. Tribute an insect on either field with a quick card and summon Big Moth from your deck, ignoring summoning conditions, or recycle an insect from your grave into the deck and draw one. So each of those skill effects are only once per duel. What that essentially means is you get a big body without starting a chain for free. I'm sure they can do stuff on resolution, but honestly, very little consequence just for drawing like a level 2 insect pounder attack. And it's not maxing, so let's get into it. So, 3 Paranoid, who knew? This card was good, who knew? It's so good that it definitely needs addressing. I hope that there is a ban list past YCS Niagara that addresses some sort of form of this, but until there is, I'm still going to play it.
Yep.
So with this, 2 Moth.
There's 2 Moth standards?
You can play 1 or 2. Don't play 3, please. The only times I really suffered in the format was when I opened 1 or 2 of these, and the only times I lost were where I opened both. There were games where I've opened 1 and still won. That's just how strong this deck is. This is literally just, for others, you can't notice on a set this, you have to summon it by a card effect. Typically, the 6th turn of the Team Moth, but like, we don't care about that. The skill skips that. You go end of your opponent's end phase, you go effect this in hand, equip it to a monster, it now becomes an insect, and then you drop turn, stand by main. If you don't have specifically Cosmic or Book of Moon, then starting mid phase, you flip the skill, tribute it, you summon this from your deck, that's 35 damage. So if they've already Cosmic'd, or they've taken any form of damage, that's already lethal on board. Just a huge threat. Also 3k defense, like if they floodgate this, like it's very rare for them to out it. Unless they're playing something like Destiny and Ragu, which would burn for 35 damage. We'll pretend that doesn't exist for now. So 2 Moth. I guess we'll just like that's essentially the Moth part of it. That's just a bunch of power staples. So 3 DD Warrior Lady. Crazy nuance in the deck is that this is 1600 defense, so if they attack with a breaker that's removed its counter in the mirror, you just flip this. You can banish, or you can't, it doesn't really matter. Like, you don't want to banish even if you have this in hand, so you just let the battle go through, nobody takes damage, leave a monster on board. During the end phase, you equip the monster to this, summon Moth from deck, and if you have no back row, that's lethal for the 4th life format.
Yeah.
But in spite of that, still a really good card. You can rotor this, but like I don't need to see 4 copies of DD Warrior later.
I also imagine it's like an out to Moth in the mirror as well.
Trades
Right?
for so many cards you can out. So if you're playing against Cyber Angel, you can banish any of these armor stuff instead of just running by card effects. Yeah, you take 1,000 damage, but essentially, or 2,000 if they've been boosted, but you take it off the field. It's not coming back. They have no recursion in that sense. It keeps the Machine Angel dead, and then you can focus on like Senju and stuff. Because once they've used, they're only playing 2 as Honor. Once they've used 1, it's very hard for them to recur the other, because a lot of times they'll attribute his Honor for his Honor or similar. And then we have 3 Breaker. All this card is so good. So if you notice on this, it's a 1900 Peter, or you take the counter off, remove a spell trap. Just the threat of having multiple this in hand. Like there've been games where I've opened triple this and this, and I've still won just from sheer like dominance on board in the mirror. So you would notice on this, take a card out. If it's not Book of Moon, which would immediately like resolve it, you just pop a Zoma or Book of Moon or whatever, or Cosmic or something ridiculous in the back row, and you just go from there. You keep dealing damage. Again, these 2, like you crash this into this, take 100 damage, banish both, sure, but just the weird interactions in the format specifically for Moth mirrors, pretty good. So yeah, all this. And then just other monsters and spell traps. So there are monsters, I promise, even though we're in the spell trap section.
Yeah.
Double Cosmic and Triple Book of Moon. So spell trap rule is pretty good. Between this and Night Beam and Double Cyclone, you can mix however you want. But the cost of this is, sure, it gets rid of a card as a quick effect, but 1,000 life points is pretty heavy. Again, in a mirror. Resolving this means that this is lethal at any time, so you have to be very careful how you do it.
Yeah. Did you ever find yourself wanting to play a different battle removal, or
not
always Cosmic?
particularly. Well, we'll get into the side deck, but I did play a little bit of extra stuff. Just help to counteract this, especially certain matchups. We'll get into matchups later. Have them edited. So, and the Book of Moons themselves, just a great battle trick. So you can do it on you. You can keep this in hand as a bluff if you have other stuff, and then on your opponent's end phase, they'll paranoid your monster, and then still in end phase, you'll Book of Moon your monster. And if they don't have Big Guy in hand, and they've not bricked essentially, then the paranoid's dead. The paranoid's completely dead. Sure, they can draw another one into a turn and then it'll be live because it's a hard one per turn, but it just means that you don't get end phase Cosmic every time. Just nice quick play. One roll disruption, ridiculous battle trick, permanent attack only, but it's 800 for each, so if they're building a big board and they have minimum 2, this means that, let's say they have Zoma, DD Warrior Lady, and the Moth that they've used on your field. This makes the other guys 0 and Moth 1100, which is just ridiculous to be able to out and come back from.
Yeah.
Because then you just put so much pressure on board, especially like other matchups like Cyber Angel when they have like Senju is Honor. Sure, if they're boosted with either 10, that is on a will be on 35. But then it means that through this it's 19. So you can attempt to crash it with this if they don't have Angel Ritual engraved, or you can take 400 damage and banish it with a Warrior Lady. And then your other monsters can clear the Senju before they switch to defense and get to this. 3 Zoma, this card is ridiculous. A trap monster, not once per turn, 1800. Summons an effect monster. Just the ability just to be able to, if you want to keep this alive, you can Book of Moon itself, return it to Spell Trap Zone. There's so many nuanced players, like on your opponent's end phase, if they're at 3,000 or lower and they have Moth or Dragoon out, you've got end phase summon Zoma. If you have the life points, all you do is just switch to attack mode, crash into the Dragoon and they'll take 3k. So, really good battle trick, really good defender, float or whatever. You can use it in Monarchs, you can use anything you want. I guess I'll talk about the side deck. I didn't play an extra deck. We'll also talk about a little ruling at the end that came up with this very,
he's told us, yeah.
Can't wait to talk about this. So, no need for an extra deck. You can play the card if you want to bluff like a Waking, but I wasn't playing Waking, it was never necessary. It would have been nice to have one, but didn't matter in the end. So 2 non-mana cross out. Yes. Crazy Guard go in second, or even first in some cases if you're playing against Stall. So you decide this in, you have 5 cards, the extra card does make a difference. So you decide these in, take out like a Breaker or like a Book of Moon or whatever you feel is unnecessary. Just take the standard down to 2 options instead of 3s, put these in, hit a DD Warrior Lady is very good. But then in certain matchups hit like a Absorbing Jaw, like a Cyber Angel, that's ridiculous because you're not playing any copies of that. So it just gets rid of all the copies in their deck. And if they draw it, then sure, but it doesn't matter at that point. It's just free removal. And then one Night Beam, this is the 3rd Cosmic. It stops change from being resolved unless they have like, sure they can activate the card, but they have to change something else, and then that's killing 3. So it's definitely like it forces a ton of interaction, or just prevents it from happening in the first place. Just shame it's not a quick play, but obviously that's the downside to it. And then 2D Fusion. This was if I ever went into Ojomas or Dragoon, never came up. Thankfully, never came up. What if you go into that? Just an immediate also win.
Yeah.
The skills once for dual for Fusion Party. So as soon as they go into Dragoon, you drop a turn, resolve this in their draw phase. They don't have any other body, like a Breaker or anything, because typically they'll play Breakers and a Spade Kribo, maybe a Warrior Lady after siding, but this is just too good to ignore. You can play DD Crow in response, but they can play Kaiku, which means that you can't manage from either grave. So this means it's just like basically a quick play impulse.
Yeah.
And then we've got the second wall, came in tons of times, especially into Moth itself and Cyber Angel, you just hide in second wall. It's basically a double, not Mirror Force, but it's a better Mirror Force because it means that they'll take the damage, have the commit to the board, no make this 2, you can't really break anything. After all that, yeah, pretty good.
Nice.
Right, time to talk about this silly card.
Right, come on then.
UK Nationals, it was ruled. This cost me the 3rd win. So, UK Nationals, it was ruled. if you Book of Moon this, it has to go back to the original spell trap zone. So I'll demonstrate.
Yeah, okay,
So you have blah, blah, blah.
Picture it, Dan's just won 2 mats, and then he comes back to us all with this ruling.
Thankfully, the ruling never came up in the original 2.
Yeah.
But after the spree I had in the giant card, to learn that this is not a ruling, after being told by judges that it is, I'm pretty disappointed.
Yeah.
Or at least not in this event. So, Zoma's activated in this specific, right?
Yes.
So, we'll just assume that these are occupied. It does not matter if they are. These are occupied. This summons here. In fact, we'll show it properly. So,
Yeah.
cut that. So,
Okay.
we'll just assume that this is the Zoma, and that's completely it, nothing else.
Yeah.
So, you activate Zoma, summon this, and then doesn't matter if it's the same turn or not. Another card is set in this specific zone.
The one where Zoma came from.
So this is the original one where Zoma came from. So my opponent activates this silly little card, Book of Moon, Zoma. So okay, let's think what happens here. So at UK Nationals, this is what would happen. Zoma would return, but it has to return to its original zone. Because the zone's currently occupied, this goes to grave.
Yes.
So just an extra form of removing Zoma without that. Me being the clueless person that I am, still thinking that this was the rule because it was ruled this way.
UK Nationals for
UK
one thing.
National,
Yeah.
this is giant card as well, so it's not a small event. My opponent activates Zoma. They've got zones free. They've got like 1 zone free, and I Book of Moon their Zoma in their battle phase.
Yes.
And they casually just put it back in another zone, and then
After the old zone was occupied. Yeah.
So just to clarify, this zone was occupied, I've zomed, they put it back in another zone. Chaos ensued because it turns out at this event, after appealing and then head judge and blah blah blah, it was ruled that Zoma can return to any zone, not just the one it was based on. So, that's
that's the story of Dan's
not very
one
fun
loss.
to learn
Yeah.
in the 8th round in a winner match.
Yeah.
So, cost me the game. I lost by, well, I wouldn't say I lost by specifically 1 Book of Moon, but it definitely cost me to lose a lot of resources when, after the same game that I'd Waking the Dragon, my opponent had Arcana Knight Joker plus Moth on board, and I had to Book of Moon one of them, but I didn't have any follow-up for the second.
Yeah.
Just got outbodied, completely outpaced. Going forward, I'll have to check, I'm literally going to have to ask
Every judge at the start of the event.
before it starts if this is the ruling, because the fact that it was ruled by all the Nats judges that this is the way, Euros, all the judges are saying it another way, and even the players, I've never heard of this ruling up until this point.
Yeah.
But,
Even asking some of the judges after the event, it was.
we even checked with some UK judges that I knew, and they were like, "What?" But
It is what it is.
so I mean, I got 2 win mats. I can't complain.
They had to give you some kind of handicap.
Yeah,
you know what
they
I mean?
had
Yeah.
to take me out in the most dramatic way fashion. It's all good.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, there it is. What was your end record at the end of
My end records through this, I guess you can call it. I don't end individual matchups and the game sets, but from winning 2 winner mats and then going down, technically was 7-1 with this, so pretty good overall. Spread across 3 technically side events, but it was 7-1 as a total.
Yeah.
Matchups, I guess I can get into.
Yes.
We can
No
just,
worries.
we can just cut this. Bear with. The matchup list. Right. Okay, so I guess I'll go into this some. So, first winner map, first time ever testing this. Me thinking at Euros, it's going to be a pretty in-depth event. Go against Ancient Gear, middle HMX, literally just draw Breaker Cosmic twice, win twice. It's straight 2-0, speedy.
Nice.
Then round 2, Into the Future. Just a stall deck rolling around Golden Ladybug, and the skill that Ast uses, which lets you essentially pot Rally without adding the card. Can't activate spells until you do it, but pretty good, honestly. Went to game 3. Eventually got to a point where he had, as a player, he had 3 Golden Ladybug in hand. He was gaining 1,500 every turn, but this was dealing 1,600 every turn, and then I know some of the DD Warrior Lady, stout paced, couldn't keep up. Yeah, that was that. And the finals of that winner mat was the Moth Mirror. Good player, Fabian. Pretty standard. So it was basically just whoever wins Darrow wins in a Moth Mirror. Or typically most of the time, after hard brick cover.
Yeah.
I won Darrow, so I won game 1.
Nice.
I won game 2. I won game 3. Very similar for the second winner mat. I won game 1. In game 2, I won game 3. The same person, by the way. This is round 2.
Yeah.
Second winner mat. And then Cyber Angel 2-1. I believe it was yourself.
Yes, it was.
So 2-1. Just opened this. Whatever. And then game 3 and 2, opened walls, forced it out, just carried on. And then the finals, 2-0 again, Cyber Angel. Just Yeah, pretty good. Just double wall again, and outgrind. And then my opponent hard bricked him. We went to that. And then round 3, it was basically round 3. The third win map. Started against a new player, we'll say. I thought he was bluffing, and then he activated the bad Cyberender skill. And then we realised, okay, so
Yeah.
and then moved on from that. And then we went to the game in the Moth mirror for technically round 8, where the Zoma ruling came up, and I just...
No, we don't have to talk about that anymore, do we? Whatever it is. Yeah. Anyway.
Pretty good.
Awesome. Very nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Goodbye.